Y'all, the Chrisleys have been released and the internet is so divided. Prosecutors allege that the Chrisleys have been committing offenses for years before they became famous, and that their show only boosted evidence of their fraud and also them like hiding money that they were making from taxes. You know, like instead of paying their taxes, they were hiding their money in different avenues, which if it's true, we'll just say this, if it's true, they wouldn't be the only like rich and elite people to hide money in different places. Just throwing that out there. If y'all don't know, Todd Chrisley was an Atlanta-based multimillionaire real estate developer and an entrepreneur. He's married to a woman named Julie, and they have 5 children total. Now, Todd and Julie Chrisley came to fame back in 2014 when their reality TV show Chrisley Knows Best premiered. And y'all, Chrisley Knows Best was USA's network's #1 original program in 2020. I mean, explosively popular. Okay, now the Chrisleys were first indicted by a federal grand jury in Atlanta in 2019 for tax evasion, conspiracy, and 12 counts of bank and wire fraud. The evasion charge was later dropped, but prosecutors still accuse the Chrisleys and their former accountant, Peter Tarantino, of submitting fake bank and financial statements. So basically, in layman's terms, they were accused of cooperating with this other person, coming up with these fake statements, sending them to the bank and saying, hey, I need a loan for, I'm just giving you an example. I need a loan from the bank for $10 million. This is how much money I make. Here is this bank statement. This is the money I have coming in, even though that statement was fake. Okay. And then they would get these loans. Now, this is when things start getting a bit juicy because Todd's former business partner, Mark Braddock, played a big part in Todd and Julie's convictions. He was actually given full immunity to testify against the Chrisleys. Now, this is the part that I find very interesting because he claimed that he witnessed Todd and Julie commit their crimes and that he even helped them commit them. But in 2012, according to Mark, he and Todd had a huge falling out. Isn't that the way it always goes? And eventually, Mark led to turning the Chrisleys into the FBI. So allegedly, the Chrisleys are committing all this different fraud, right? Banks, the bankruptcy thing, This business partner, Mark, gets into it with Todd. So they have a falling out, and Todd fires him and says, okay, we can't make this work. I'm cutting ties with you. That guy gets salty and has it out now for the Chrisleys. And allegedly, during the trial, he even admitted on the stand that, yeah, he wanted to get back at them. And he said, I'm going to fix you up right now. I'm going to go to the FBI and tell them everything that you've been doing and get immunity for myself. So he's going to go in there and say, listen, I can tell y'all about some big famous person on this big hit show, all this stuff that they were doing, but you got to give me paperwork saying that I won't get in any trouble. And allegedly they made that deal. And so he went and told everything that he said happened. Not only that, but Mark also claimed that he had had an affair with Todd for about a year in the early 2000s. He even testified in court that he and Todd had ended up paying off this other person that was blackmailing them. So there was this third person that found out that Mark and Todd allegedly was having a relationship, okay? And then so they paid this person $38,000 not to say anything. Mark was married at the time, and he said that his wife had no idea about any of this, no idea about the affair, until he had to confess to her before he announced it to the world during the trial. So he had kept this affair that he's saying that he had with Todd in the early 2000s a secret all these years and allegedly let it all out just to spite Todd because they broke up their business partnership. Can you imagine ever being that mad? I mean, like the drama, y'all. Now, it's important to say that Todd has denied all of these claims. Todd's defense attorneys claimed during the trial that Mark was actually the one that committed all of these crimes, and they alleged that Mark impersonated Todd and committed these crimes behind Todd and Julie's back. But nevertheless, the trial went on. It was a jury trial, and Todd ended up being sentenced to 12 years in federal prison, and Julie was sentenced to 7 years after the jury found them guilty on all counts. They were also ordered to pay more than $15 million in restitution. Both Todd and Julie filed requests to appeal their cases in April of 2024. Todd's was immediately denied and Julie's was granted due to insufficient evidence, but the judge still upheld the original sentencing. And this was just recently in December of last year, 2024. The Chrisleys have always maintained their innocence. Their attorney, Alex Little, has said that the Chrisleys were targeted because of their conservative values and basically because they were so high profile or like really famous. Savannah, their daughter, has said the same. However, she's given even more details into why she believes that her parents were targeted.
Because we were at my grandfather's funeral when my mom got a call from a banker that was like, hey, you just cleared out your account. Is everything okay? And she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do this. And that's when they started uncovering what Mark Braddock, my dad's former business partner, had done.
Now, after her parents were convicted, Savannah not only took on advocating for her parents, but she also took on her younger siblings as well. And if you don't know, Chloe is technically her niece. And so that might be why a lot of y'all have seen Savannah's face everywhere. And in all honesty, a lot of people were shocked to see them get so much time in prison. So Todd and Julie's case was brought to President Trump's attention by Alice Marie Johnson. And if you do not know who Alice Marie Johnson is, she's actually the president's pardon czar. So her job is to present or go out and find cases for people that she believes deserves to be pardoned to President Trump. Why would she be an expert in this? Well, because back in 1996, she was sentenced to life in prison for some crimes, but she spent so many decades in prison helping others, doing things for others, even though she thought she was never going to get out. And you may remember seeing Kim Kardashian working on her case as well. Alex Little, the Chrisleys' attorney, said that he did not know why the president chose to pardon Todd and Julie, but he did say that he had given Alice Johnson a binder of court documents and testimonies. Savannah posted this video talking about how shocked she was when she found out that her parents had been pardoned. A lot of people feel like it's not fair. Some people think it's just privilege, or other people believe that it's just because they're famous. And then there's a lot of people that believe that the Chrisleys are getting justice for being overly prosecuted, or at the very least, overly sentenced. I do think that that was a big sentence. 12 years. They've never even been in trouble before, or 7 years. And it took a while to really see Todd's face. And there were so many rumors online of people saying that he needed to go get his Botox real quick because he loved his Botox before he went to prison and all of that. However, when Todd went to give this press conference, he ain't had time to either have Botox, or if he did, it hasn't kicked in yet because it takes a good week. And he looked just fine.
It could be you. It could be you. It could be any of you.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really watch their show every now and then with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was a big fan of their show. I know who they are, but I haven't watched it. However, the show that they're getting ready to put out now, because they are filming, I am going to watch that because I want to know their side of the story. I want to know what they're saying happened. I think it's very bizarre that they had this business partner who they got into it with, and he went as far as going to the FBI and exposing himself for an affair that he said happened to his wife and all of this stuff. It seems like there was more to it. That just doesn't make sense.